Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul huwallahu ahad. Allahu samad. Lam yalid wa lam yulad. Wa lam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad.
Assalamu alaikum, and what's the crack with you? This is the story of how and why I became Muslim. So some of you'll know at this point that my name's Jason. I'm 37. I was brought up in Northern Ireland. I live in Belfast, and I grew up, like many people did here in the north of Ireland, in a Christian environment, in a Christian house. I was taken to church as a child, and as a teenager I took that decision on myself to be a Christian and to follow it very religiously, you could say. And it was a big part of my life, and I never ever imagined that I would become a Muslim. I spent the whole of my 20s, I would describe myself looking back as an atheist. I kind of strayed very far away from the church, away from God, kind of lost heart in the Christian message. But I never thought about looking into any other religion. I studied theology as my undergraduate degree, so I was very interested in religion in general, the impact it can have on individuals, on society. But as I said, throughout all my 20s, particularly when I moved to Belfast from the rural area where I'm from, I really lost interest, to be honest. I lived in England for 12 years, and that was a lot of fun. But fast forward to the spring of 2023, and I made a trip to Sierra Leone in Western Africa. I was invited there by a contact that I have, who a friend of mine now, who's a Muslim, Hassan, who runs an organization, a social work organization there, and we made contact through Twitter at the time. My career is I'm a social worker, and that's how we got in discussions with each other. That's how we made contact. And he said, why don't you come out to Sierra Leone and see the work that we're doing here in social work? And I love traveling, and I thought to myself, wow, what an amazing opportunity this would be. I'd never been to Western Africa, and so I went. And I didn't realize that I was going during Ramadan, for one thing. And second of all, whenever my friend picked me up from the ferry, I got into his car and he was playing the Quran through his radio, and it just struck me as something so beautiful. I'd been to other Muslim countries before, been to Morocco, been to Egypt, but I don't think I'd ever heard the Quran being played in this way. There was something about it that really struck me. And looking back now, this is probably when the seed was planted and I started to become interested in Islam. But as I say, this kind of planted the seed, and I came back to England then after my month away in Sierra Leone in the spring of 2023.